With us today on Island Focus is Natalie McKinney, who is the Executive Director for the Kōkua Hawai'i Foundation. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
And Kōkua Hawai'i. We know it means Kōkua and helping, but maybe you could explain a little bit more what's inside this foundation.
So we support environmental education in Hawaii schools and communities. We do that through a variety of programs. We offer grants to schools to get students to outdoor destinations so that they can connect with nature. We also have grants for schools who are interested in starting or maintaining sustainability initiatives on their school campuses, like school gardens or aquaponics or solar projects. And then we also have waste reduction programs, the 3R School Recycling Program, Plastic Free Hawaii, and our crown jewel is the Aina in Schools, a farm-to-school initiative.
How can we make sure that every school has this experience?
Yeah, so at our Aina in Schools program, we service 23 Oahu elementary schools. However, we have a farm-to-school curricula that we've trained over 500 teachers statewide to utilize. And the grants are available to every school, public, private, and charter all throughout the state. And so it's just about spreading the word that these monies and funds are available for teachers and for schools and for students.
So with the mantra, eat local, buy local, how does that impact the schools?
Well, at the current time, the Department of Education has really increased their local purchasing of school foods, but we say it's not nutritious unless they eat it. Yeah. So the work that we're doing around nutrition education and school gardens is really helping to connect the students to the food so that once we know if they grow a radish, they tend to it, they will be more likely to eat it. So we're really trying to connect them to where their food comes from, who grows it. We also bring chefs into the classroom, as well as farmers, as well as try to get kids out onto farms.
So it's probably pretty special for you to be in this location at the Culinary Institute of the Pacific.
This is an amazing location. I've actually had the opportunity to be here before and get a behind-the-scenes tour. And culinary in Hawaii is amazing. And there's tremendous opportunity, not just in the industry, but for these people who are actually growing our food as well.
So if there was a message to the community as a result of this conversation, what might that be?
That might be support agriculture, support local agriculture. I also want to say get involved at the legislative level, vote, use your dollars as you vote as well. So when you're out there purchasing a product, think about buying the local product as opposed to buying the product that's imported or brought in from the mainland.
Speaking of the legislature and elected officials, how does one know whether the voice of the elected is really sincere about wanting to support local products?
Well, in Hawaii, it's so easy to get involved. You can submit testimony online, which very few other states have that capability. So people engaging isn't really that difficult once you show them how easy it is. But I also think that we need to think about who we're voting for and really ask them the hard questions about how do you feel about agriculture? Only 0.5% of our state budget goes to the Department of Agriculture. So if we really want to see an increase in local food production, we're going to need to increase the budget for the Department of Agriculture.
So maybe another question is beyond how do you feel, because everyone wants to feel
yes,
and support and good, is what are some ideas, right? What would you do?
Yeah, what do we do? So we work directly with schools and we utilize parents and community members as volunteers, and they come in and they help to teach the lessons. So we really feel like we're helping to build the community food system. So not only are the students learning about growing practices, about food miles, about the implications of a healthy food system, but so are the folks who are in the classes delivering the lessons. We train about 200 volunteers a year, and those 200 volunteers then become local food advocates.
And I would imagine that some of them maybe even go home and have gardens like my son built for me.
Yes, and they'll say, Mom, look, you have to buy this tomato because the farmer was in our classroom today and it takes a really long time and it's hard to grow a tomato. So we've heard those stories too.
And maybe grow them themselves.
Yes, grow them themselves as well. What we've learned through a lot of our evaluation of the program is that about 1/3 of the students who participate in the program actually begin gardens at home, compost piles at home, as well as cooking at home with their families.
Great. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
We've had the pleasure of talking today with Natalie McKinney, who is the Executive Director for Kōkua Hawai'i Foundation. Appreciate you being with us.